Today we'll be looking at a few of the ecosystems on this channel that are highly requested from you viewers. And the first gentleman I will be introducing you today is Apollo. It's been a while since he's been on this channel, but he has grown significantly. It's fair to say he has put on some weight, and it's really good to see, but he constantly eats greens and he's constantly eating insects, so I'm really not surprised. He has the biggest personality in the world as well as his appetite. I'm always replanting new herbs and things within his enclosure, and I can guarantee within 3 or 4 days, every single thing is gone. And this is also because there's mealworms in there within the soil, there's isopods, there's springtails, we introduce locusts into the enclosure. I'm always constantly mixing it up for him just to keep him as active as possible, and those things in there also eat these herbs. Alongside having a massive personality, he's also a huge part of our family now. Is it tickly? Yeah. This paludarium is one of the oldest tanks on this channel. This is actually 3.5 years old. This has been going since March 2021, and this colony has thrived in here. I initially started out with 1 queen and 2 workers, and you can physically see a queen on the screen right now. You'll also see one of the workers come flying in to the food source. They have one of the fastest movements in the animal kingdom, and they can be seen from this slow-mo how fast they arrive on scene. But it's been an absolute pleasure keeping this tank. We do have fish in the water area as well of the paludarium, but the main part for me was always this colony. It was a dream species I've always wanted to keep, and the queens and the elates now recycle and regenerate themselves, and the new queens go back into the nest, become workers, or they may potentially be fertilized and then become queens of the colony. I'm not 100% sure because I've never really known that, but I've seen more than 1 queen out on the surface at the same time, so I know they are contributing towards the workers. What's up, beautiful people? This is actually where I want to mention something that's really helped me in terms of my content creation recently. As the OGs will know of the channel, that all I've been doing is using my phone to edit videos, but recently I've been sent something, and what I've got here, this is the secret. Now these are like the prestigious brands of macro lenses for any phone device. I also have a discount code below, and I'll put the link in the description of where you can purchase these. What I've got here is an absolute photographer's dream. If you're out and about using your phone, you can actually carry this quite easily. But for people like me who don't have £1,000 laying around for a really good quality camera with all the individual little lenses to sort of show every single thing that I'm doing, this is the answer. And what I decided to do on this video was almost 90% of the footage that I'm going to be using and showing today on this video was all filmed on a really old iPhone 11. Now these phones are about 5-year-old. Now I'll be using this to actually film every single thing today. It's as easy as clipping it into your phone like this, lining this area up with your camera, then attaching your macro lens straight to the end. And just a reminder, this isn't if you've got tanks laying around. This is photography if you want to do it anywhere, by any macro shots. And then you just turn the light on the back. Even if you're out at night time trying to video or photo any insects or animals, voila, your answer is there. You can actually take full advantage of this as well, because I do have a 10% discount code for anyone purchasing this. Obviously, if you go and purchase one of these, it helps me and the channel, but it also helps you because you get 10% off on something that you can finally start using for all your video creations. But I think what the most beautiful thing is I do everything on my phone, so something like this is absolutely perfect for me, and I cannot wait to start using this going forward on all of my videos. So I'm going to start mentioning this device a little bit more, so I'm super glad that I can store this upon you today. Now that pest has stopped talking, we can finally get down to the juicy stuff, and for that we have to go way back, all the way back to last year when I initially converted my garage into the new animal room, because this is when I built one of the biggest ecosystems to date. It had a waterfall area, it had orchids, plants, just so much life inside this tank, and it was such a shame when I had to tear it down, and that's what made me lose a lot of motivation. Recently with the new build, which is more positive, this is where we kind of get on to this subject. In that huge tank I had tree frogs in there, and I've recently done a poll on my YouTube for what creatures we should be keeping in here. And you guessed it, we put the tree frogs in there. And since then, they've started laying eggs by the hundreds. I've got so many different sized tadpoles in this tank now, it's crazy. So the positive side is, despite that huge tank they previously had, they actually preferred this one because they're now actively breeding in here. And we still have our ecosystem, which contained the morning geckos and the vampire crabs, the shrimp and the frogs. And this is still thriving. 2 of the eggs here I've had incubating now for 3 whole months. And finally, one of them has been introduced to the world. This is how the tank looked initially, and the tank does need a lot of TLC now, and that was because of a mistake I made myself. I ended up increasing the humidity a little bit too much and had a lot of die-off within the plants, so I do need to change that and make some amendments and then also go back and restart with this tank. But I am really looking forward to it because this tank has always been such a resilient tank. But sadly, you can see that this tank does not look like it once did. A little bit of TLC and we'll be back to normal. And finally, the last gecko to hatch the following day to be introduced back into the tank, but this time it's going with the frogs. And I'll show you how it's definitely going to be fine living with those tree frogs. This one is still absolutely thriving. Everything in here is doing really well. The rainbow millipedes, the bumblebee millipedes, they're still producing in that water area, more tadpoles, and at the same time, the isopods doing great. The plant life is still booming, and the mushrooms are still there, which is absolutely awesome to see. But I'm really glad about this because this is one of the oldest tanks I've made as well, and it's still going great. But this is why I know the geckos will be fine. An absolute swing and a miss from this frog. The other one seems to be finishing off a snack that it was eating, while the other one in the top canopy is currently stalking the cricket on that branch. I was actually thinking of a new style of video, a more chilled out approach, more relaxed, more facts and less intense, giving a more personal approach on the care, natural habitats, behaviours with the animals that I keep. From the eggshells now being used as hideouts for the tadpoles, mosquitoes laying eggs in here now becoming food, and the tadpoles even dive bombing for those mosquito larvae, and just seeing such an active water area. The channel intention was always to be more educational, showing what I do for the species and why I do it. The intent was just to help others, spread some sort of good care message amongst other pet lovers, keepers, enthusiasts. And this is always something that stuck in my head. It was a saying by Theodore Roosevelt, and it was that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think it's always really good to spread such a positive message. But the next video will be the journey and update on this tank, and believe me, it gets a little bit crazy. So if you are wanting to watch the next video and update on this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, like and subscribe. But as always from me, peace and love, I'm out.